Hi there. The Afrikaners and Apartheid. South Africa has recently made international headlines with the arrival of the first batch of 49 Afrikaners seeking asylum in the United States after fleeing from a non-existent white genocide. In 1994, a huge change of historical proportions took place when the late Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress Party, ANC, took the reins of political power from the minority white apartheid government of South Africa. This was yet another moment of triumph in the long journey of the African people toward freedom and self-rule. In the annals of history, South Africa and its people will always hold a coveted place by overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Apartheid, an authoritarian system of government based on separate development and racial segregation that guaranteed white domination in every area of life, was officially established in 1948. Apartheid as an ideology was founded by Hendrik Verwoerd and was anchored on a so-called biblical justification that blacks were to be treated as inferior human beings. Verwoerd once said, "I do not have the nagging doubt of ever wondering whether perhaps I'm wrong." Like Verwoerd, the minority Afrikaners were white settlers who came mainly from the Netherlands, France, and Germany. In 1652, Jan van Riebeeck led a small company of employees of the Dutch East Indian Company comprising of 3 ships, accompanied by 82 men and 8 women. Their mission was to establish a refreshment point at the Cape of Goodwill for the company's ships en route to the further east. Van Riebeeck arrived at the tip of Africa on April 6 of that same year. The number of settlers were increased with the arrival of 200 French Huguenots, Protestant refugees from Catholic France, and by German refugees. Together, they became known as the Afrikaners. They settled among the indigenous people of the Cape, the Khoikhoi, many of whom were to later work as laborers on the farms of the Dutch-speaking settlers. In the years that followed, the Afrikaners moved into the hinterland in pursuit of farming land. In 1795, the British had taken over the Cape. Between 1824 and 1834, many Afrikaner-speaking farmers, known as the Boers, trekked further into the interior as a result of discontentment with British rule. In turn, they mingled with many other indigenous tribes such as the Zulus, Xhosas, and the Sotho. They established 2 Boer republics, the Transvaal and the Orange Free State, away from the reach and influence of the British. Had it not been for the discovery of gold in the Transvaal, the Boers would have enjoyed their newly found farming life in quiet like they had hoped for. To the contrary, the Transvaal became a hive of activity and attractive destination for gold diggers. Tensions consequently ensued between the gold diggers and the local Afrikaner farming population, leading into the Anglo-Boer War from 1899 to 1902. The British defeated the Boers and outlawed the 2 Boer republics and combined them with the Cape Colony and the Colony of Natal to form the Union of South Africa in 1910. From the ashes of defeat, the Afrikaans-speaking people regrouped under the banner of a strong nationalist sentiment. This led to the victory of the Afrikaner Nationalist Party in 1948. Blacks were clearly in a commanding majority in comparison to the Afrikaner population. Therefore, The policy of apartheid was developed to maintain white Afrikaner supremacy in South Africa. By 1949, interracial marriage was declared illegal. Racial segregation meant that the majority of the native Africans, Indians, and Coloureds, who made up 86% of the total population of about 48 million, were relegated to their own settlements. Thank you.